Trump was recently interviewed about his surprisingly poor performance in Iowa. He did come in second, but he lost by a significant amount under Cruz. And in that interview, he revealed a striking ignorance, even for Donald Trump. Let's watch.
Well, it's a little different because the caucus system is very complicated. I mean, you just never know what's going to happen with the caucus. You know, you think everything's fine, and it's not like you walk in and you vote and you walk out. You know, you're in and out in 10 minutes or 2 minutes. The caucus system is a complex system that I was never familiar with. I mean, I was never involved with the caucus system. Don't forget, Joe, I'm doing this for the first time. I'm like a rookie, and I'm learning fast, and I do learn fast.
Do you feel in some ways you need to have a little bit more of a conventional campaign, which is to say more organization on the ground going forward and more of a team that's working on those kind of things?
Well, I think we could have used a better ground game, a term I wasn't even familiar with. You know, when you hear ground game, you say, what the hell is that? Now I'm familiar with it. But, you know, yeah, I think in retrospect we should have had a better ground game.
So there, he reveals he doesn't know what a ground game is. He doesn't know basically what retail politics is. If you're not familiar with this, he would fly home from Iowa after his events each time he visited. He'd fly and do an event, fly back to New York every time almost. That's crazy. Yeah. And that almost certainly, that and the Fox News thing is probably why he actually lost. But he's not familiar with any of this stuff. And the point that I want to make about this is, I was seeing from butthurt Trump supporters when he lost that they were like, oh, well, nobody thought he was going to win in Iowa, even though he was up by like 6 or 8 points right before the end. And he didn't really have an organization anyway. It's you guys who've been saying he should be president because he's great at organizing things and he's a great manager and he always surrounds himself by the smartest people and shows great leadership. So even if somehow he got to 69 without knowing what a caucus is or how it works and has run for almost a year as a presidential candidate without understanding that stuff, under your logic, he's the man to put people into places underneath him, middle management, that'll run this stuff and make sure that he wins. And instead, he showed a startling ignorance and incompetence in being unable to do that, which should shake your confidence in his ability to run this government like it's a business.
Yeah, I will add that he's a loser. And because he lost, by definition. And I don't mean that in a generic sense. I mean it in exactly the way that John is describing. He was a poor manager. He showed great incompetence by not really understanding how a caucus works.
It was a mess.
Yeah.
A mess.
His campaign was a mess. He not knowing what a ground game is when you're running for president. Now, if you're a plumber and you don't know what it means to have a ground game in politics, that's okay. You're not a politician.
Yeah.
If you're running for president, a ground game is getting out the vote, having an organization on the ground where people will actually encourage others to come out and vote for you on the day of the election. That is among the different things you do with a ground game. For you to not understand the most simple part of electoral politics while you're running for president shows enormous incompetence.
Yeah.
No, he's not a good manager. He's a terrible manager.
Surrounds himself with yes men.
And this fish it rots from the head down, right? Mm-hmm. And so when somebody who's managing the whole process doesn't care, is lazy, doesn't care to find out how you win, well, then guess what happens? You don't win. Instead, you become a loser like Donald Trump was. So if you want to support a loser who doesn't know how to manage anything, I guess go for Donald Trump.